Good morning. This is to follow on from my short this morning. So if you haven't watched my short this morning, or the two-part short, it's probably a good idea to just pop over and have a quick look. So I can't remember the exact timing, but let's call it, I've been back at powerlifting 18 months. I started off by just doing strength training. Once I got myself to a certain level, I then went to a proper powerlifting gym, DLF Barbell Club in Liverpool, and started with Danny there. And obviously, if anyone knows me from the past, and I know Jez and you guys do, then I was competing very, very competitively, doing the Britishes and everything else, looking forward to going to the Worlds or Europeans, whichever the route was then, and doing really, really well. That was 27 years ago. So I've come back. I've done a charity competition where I did really well, and I did a Northwest competition where I won, got gold, bench only, and got 127.5 bench. Now, I came back with one goal in mind, and that is to slowly increase my weights on my bench, my deadlift and my squat by about 2.5 kilos a time. Find someone like Danny to program me, concentrate and focus on bench and not focus so much on deadlift and squat. Basically, very soon into it, I didn't fail a squat, but what happened was I took it off the rack. It felt heavy and I didn't want to take it down and not be able to come back up, and I had a little twinge in my back. So I took it off the rack, put it back on the rack, and then I thought, well, it's in my mind, I'll get Danny and B to spot me and I'll do it again. So I took it off the rack, had a twinge in my back and didn't go down. I just didn't attempt the squat. So I didn't regard it as a fail. I regarded it as my mind wasn't in the right place, and so I left it at that. I came back the following week and did it, no problem at all. Just went down, come back, and don't even know what the fuss was all about. Anyway, go forward to now, and I'm basically been away for 6 weeks, which is a terrible thing to do when you're powerlifting or strength training. The aim wasn't to do nothing while I was away. The aim was to find gyms and carry on training. Sadly, I couldn't do that. I only found one gym. The rest of them were all very, very complicated. And they all wanted me to do an induction and this and that before I could train, which is madness. I get it for their insurances, but I think it's madness. But then they didn't have anyone to do the inductions for me until I'd almost left. They had the person that come in an induction do the inductions once a week, which was just random as hell. So I actually didn't train for 5 weeks. Now, that caused the problem when I came back. Obviously it did. So what I did was I didn't know where to start because I wasn't thinking straight. I've been away on holiday. I'd come back, and because I have a little bit of brain damage, the week back off holiday was absolute nightmare for me, physically, mentally. And then obviously I started training again, and I didn't know where to go back and start from. And I said to Danny, I don't know where to go back to start from. And then of course, I looked at my old routine yesterday after something happened yesterday, which I'll come on to. I looked at my old routine and I thought, after I used to do a competition, I used to take a 4-week break, come back and start at 80%. So that was the answer to the question. So my bench was 127.5 in competition a few months back, and I've been training around that figure. I've been away for 5 weeks. I should have come back and benched up to 102 or 102.5, and then slowly increased by 2.5 kilos each week, if not a little bit more slowly, until I got my strength back and got my gains back. I didn't do that. I said to Danny, what should it be? He programmed in at 112. Last week, I went up to 107.5. I thought I don't have 112 in me, so I didn't do it. This week, because a week's gone by, had some rest, trained some more, thought, well, got up to 107.5. 107.5 didn't feel right. Felt I could probably do a little bit more, but I couldn't do 2 reps at 107.5. Let's put it that way. So doing 1 rep at 112.5 was probably stupid, and I should have gone 110. And also everything was feeling wrong on the bench. The bench was moving. I kept catching the frame. It wasn't aligned properly, and I've never had a problem with this bench before. So it's either me or something was going wrong that day. Now, I wasn't feeling it that day. Sush was training and I was training, and we both said, this is a bad day at the office, a bad day in the gym. We both weren't feeling it. It was difficult. Anyway, Sush spotted me and he said he didn't take much out of the bar when he helped me up. but it was about 2.5 kilos, something like that. That's what it felt like. So basically I failed what I should have done, which is I failed 112 because I should have done 110. Mentally, it set me back a little bit. Physically, it didn't hurt, it didn't damage anything. I have got a bit of shoulder pain since I've started training again. So that's a bit of an issue I've got to overcome, the shoulder pain. The squat, I went up to 105. You won't see that if I'm showing you these videos because I forgot to record it because I was having a bad day at the office because I failed my bench. And deadlift the other day, I'm easily going to come back up with that as well. And I didn't even take them down to 80%. But so why am I beating myself up about the failure? I came back with a plan in my mind, and I didn't listen to my gut, didn't listen to my body telling me not to go too high. So I failed. Now, it doesn't matter when we used to train. In my strength training a little while ago, it was training to failure. And when I used to train before, it's training to failure. I don't like to fail when I'm getting ready for a competition because it puts negative thoughts in my head. Even making this video is negative, but I'm going to do it in a positive sort of way. So the reason it's really, really frustrating me is this. When I had to give up powerlifting because I broke my back in a car accident, I was heading for the British and then the Worlds, etc., etc. And I was capable of getting there with a huge, great bench I had. This time I'm heading for the British bench in February again. And technically, my 127.5 is the 83 kilo British record at my age and weight class. So as you can see, failing now, right at the beginning, has really, really frustrated me. It hasn't set me back. It's only set me back by 2.5 kilos, and it's a long way to go to February. But it's very, very, very complicated for me, especially with brain damage and everything else. I don't want to dwell on this, and I'm not going to dwell on this today. So moving forward, I know now what to do next year. Next year, when I come back, if I take 6 weeks again, which I probably will, I will go back to 80% and move on from there, and maybe change something for a few weeks before I get back to my routine. Get my strength back up, go through the motions, warm everything up, get my shoulders ready, get my back ready, get everything ready, instead of just going bang straight back into powerlifting. Might spend a couple of weeks just getting back into the movements and getting everything the way I need it to be before I start knuckling down and going up to top single. But I do recommend strength training or powerlifting for anyone, especially over 60. And I want to make more and more videos about that. And I want to make, and the reason I included this in this and I wanted to do this one today is because I failed bench. And it's technically my best lift, and it's my lift that used to help me win competitions, because I had a really, really good deadlift and I had an average squat, but my bench always helped me out to win. And so to actually fail it, it's done my head in basically. But I want to make these videos so that you and people of my age, 60 onwards, can get back into powerlifting and know what it's like to fail and how it is to feel about it. When I used to do my photography stuff, people used to say to me, oh, it's really good because sometimes you show how your images is done and how the failures are. And I think that's important because we have to fail to learn and to move on. And so this video today is just about that. I'm going to come on to more of the technical side of powerlifting and more of the stuff that's interesting for people my age and onwards, because taking 6 weeks off when I was in my 30s, coming back at 80% was the wise thing to do. I didn't even do that in my 60s. I must be stupid not to have come back at 80%. So I'm going to learn from that and move on. Future videos will talk about how I got back into it, what I did to warm up. I'm going to include some of the details and everything else, include some of the facts, and I'll even put some of the stuff on my Instagram page as well, so people can get into powerlifting or strength training. So anyway, see you all later. Take care. See you on the next one.